Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we are tackling a subject that has literally captured the world's imagination for decades. Back in May 2026, the United States government declassified a massive, unprecedented trove of UAP files. We're going to dive right into these highly viral sightings, but we're tossing out the rumors and the speculation. Instead, we're rigorously applying the lens of science. If you're a focused learner looking for the actual facts behind the mystery, you are in the exact right place.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our docket for today. We'll start with the Pursue release itself, move into space anomalies from Apollo and Gemini, examine Earth encounters with fighter jets, explore camera effects and sensor glitches, and then wrap it all up with our scientific verdict.
To really grasp the weight of these new files, we kind of have to zoom out and look at the timeline of government UFO tracking. Public fascination really exploded back in 1947 with the Roswell incident, which, of course, the military attributed to a weather balloon. That eventually led to Project Blue Book, a massive investigation tackling over 12,000 reports up until 1969. But the most historic milestone? That happened just recently in May 2026, when the Department of War initiated the Pursue Directive, dropping 162 highly classified files right into the public's lap.
To give you some context on the release itself, the Department of War, acting on a directive from President Donald Trump, established the Presidential Unsealing and Reporting System for UAP Encounters, or Pursue for short. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth stated that releasing these hidden files demonstrates an earnest commitment to unprecedented transparency. Basically, they're letting the American public finally see these military videos, pilot testimonies, and FBI reports for themselves.
Now, this is absolutely crucial. When you see a government file stamped with the label Unresolved Case, man, it is incredibly tempting to jump straight to alien spacecraft. But let's look at the actual definition here. Unresolved simply indicates an inability to definitively determine the nature of a phenomenon. And as the Department of War explicitly states, this is usually just because of a lack of sufficient data or limitations with our sensors. It's a blind spot, not proof of extraterrestrial life. Keep that firmly in mind as we analyze the evidence today.
All right, Section 1. Space anomalies from the Apollo and Gemini missions. Let's open up these files.
Listen to this wild radio transcript from the Gemini 7 mission back in 1965. You've got astronauts Frank Borman and Jim Lovell up in orbit, and they report an unidentified bogey to Houston. They describe it as looking like a disintegrated vehicle with hundreds, maybe even trillions, of little particles flying off it. Mission control is confused. The astronauts are confused. This transcript was literally hidden for over 60 years before the PRS release. It sounds exactly like a close encounter with an alien fleet, doesn't it?
But when we apply our scientific lens to this claim, it reveals a reality completely rooted in orbital mechanics. See, when the Gemini capsule reached orbit, it separated from its booster stage. That booster didn't just vanish, it floated in a very similar orbit nearby. And as the booster's body deteriorated in the incredibly harsh environment of space, it started shedding tiny pieces of insulation and paint chips. In the zero-gravity vacuum, these thousands of pieces just floated around, and when the sharp, unfiltered sunlight hit them, they gleamed brightly. So, not an alien fleet, just the astronauts' own discarded space debris reflecting the sun.
And this brilliantly illustrates a pattern, because we see these exact same mysterious visual reports popping up from the lunar missions. During Apollo 12 in 1969, astronauts photographed 5 distinct, incredibly bright lights hovering above the moon's horizon. Remember, this is a place with zero atmosphere and zero electricity. The Pentagon even drew circles around them in the release files. Then, fast forward 3 years to Apollo 17, and astronauts report seeing glowing objects out their window that look just like 4th of July fireworks.
Well, the scientific explanation for those lunar fireworks is surprisingly simple, yet endlessly fascinating. It all boils down to spacecraft wastewater freezing. The Apollo capsules were equipped with a system to dump their excess liquid waste, including water, straight out into the vacuum of space. The exact second that liquid hit the zero-pressure, freezing environment outside, it instantly crystallized into thousands of tiny ice particles. Without an atmosphere to scatter the light, the sun hit those floating ice crystals, making them sparkle intensely like fireworks or glowing orbs. It's a highly documented physical phenomenon, perfectly explaining the mysterious Apollo photos.
Okay, moving right along to Section 2, Earth Encounters and Fighter Jets. Let's see what happens when we bring things down into Earth's atmosphere.
Down here, things get even spicier. Some of the most compelling footage in the PERS release involves Navy pilots recording what appear to be wingless, white objects just hovering low over the ocean.
In these videos, the objects have no engines, no wings, no exhaust plumes, yet they seem to totally defy the laws of physics, accelerating at speeds that effortlessly outrun our most advanced fighter jets. On the surface, this looks like undeniable proof of otherworldly engineering.
However, a comprehensive 2023 NASA study brought rigorous science into the mix, highlighting a concept called sensor platform distortion. Think about it. These videos aren't being shot from a steady tripod on the ground. They are recorded by a tracking camera mounted onto a fighter jet that is blasting through the sky at over 800 kilometers per hour. That extreme speed creates a massive optical illusion, a parallax effect that severely distorts the perceived speed and direction of whatever object is being tracked.
Because of that sensor platform distortion, what looks for all the world like a bullet-fast alien craft skipping over the water is totally an illusion. When scientists sat down and calculated the actual speed of the jet, the specific angle of the camera, and the local wind speeds for that day, the math revealed something completely mundane. The object wasn't moving at supersonic speeds at all. It was actually moving quite slowly, just drifting perfectly with the wind currents. The data points strongly, almost undeniably, to a simple weather balloon.
Which brings us to this absolute gem of a video included in the files. What on earth is this unidentified blob-like object slowly circling a group of wind turbines? The way it moves is undeniably eerie, and it led a lot of people to speculate that it was an extraterrestrial drone carefully inspecting our human energy grids.
It looks like an alien observation drone, right? But actually, scratch that. The science of the equipment gives us the real answer. This footage was shot on an infrared camera. Infrared captures heat, not visible light. Because massive wind turbines generate a lot of mechanical heat, they create these natural rising thermal air currents all around them. Well, large birds absolutely love to glide on those thermal currents to save energy. And when a large bird is captured on a military-grade infrared sensor, its heat signature can blur and warp, completely hiding its wings and beak. It basically transforms a bird into a mysterious, alien-looking oval shape.
All right, Section 3. Camera effects and sensor glitches. Sometimes the tech itself is the culprit. If you've followed this topic for any length of time, you definitely know this one. It's the incredibly famous viral footage of a dark object flying through the clouds and then smoothly rotating on its axis mid-air while the jet pilots react in pure amazement. It looks exactly like a sci-fi craft shifting its anti-gravity engines. But the science of optics tells a very different story here.
Enter debunker Mick West, who did an incredibly detailed analysis on this. We have to understand the gimbal mechanism. This is the mechanical housing that allows a fighter jet's targeting camera to pivot and maintain a lock on a target, even while the jet itself is pulling maneuvers. What West's analysis proved is that the object in the video isn't rotating at all. What you are actually seeing is the internal camera gimbal mechanically rotating to adjust its angle. As the lens housing spins to maintain the lock, it causes the thermal image displayed on the pilot's screen to spin right along with it.
Now we can apply this exact same grounded logic to other strange files in the Pursu database. Take the 1999 incident over the Gulf of Oman. An object was locked on radar for 20 seconds before instantly vanishing. Well, in 1999, experimental stealth drone technology was rapidly developing, specifically designed to drop off targeting systems in a fraction of a second. Or what about the bizarre 8-pointed star UFO video? Optical scientists have pointed out that this shape is incredibly consistent with extreme lens reflections happening inside an infrared camera's housing, or light hitting a multi-paneled weather balloon at an odd angle.
Okay, let's wrap this up with Section 4, the scientific verdict.
If we pull the whole shebang together and strip away the speculation, a very clear pattern emerges. Every single famous sighting highlighted in these files has a highly probable, totally natural explanation. Ice crystals in space, optical illusions from zooming jets, the thermal warping of local birds, and mechanical camera rotations. The science consistently points to ordinary phenomena that were just captured under extraordinary circumstances.
So, back to the government's own terminology. The Department of War's unresolved label merely highlights our technological blind spots. It just means there wasn't enough data collected in that split second, or the sensors were pushed past their limits, or hey, maybe the footage captured classified military tech that they simply can't publicly acknowledge. It absolutely does not mean they are covering up evidence of alien visitors.
But hey, I want to leave you with one final, slightly mind-bending thought. While the scientific method brilliantly demystifies these specific military videos, we have to remember the Drake equation. Our own Milky Way contains millions of potentially habitable planets, and the observable universe holds billions more. So while science confidently explains the PSU files as camera effects and environmental factors, with a universe that unimaginably vast, the search for the ultimate truth is far from over. Are we truly alone? That remains the greatest mystery of all. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and always keep questioning what you see.